Breaking news: whenever Israel's economy faces a crisis, it always recovers and even thrives. GDP, exports, and FDI have all recovered better from the many crises that Israel's economy has endured. Iscar, an Israeli industrials company, was Warren Buffett's first foreign acquisition, and he increased his investment in it following the Second Lebanon War. 13 Israeli companies have made it onto CNBC's Disruptor 50 list, placing Israel second only to the United States in terms of national counts, earning the nickname Startup Nation for its robust tech R&D sector. As a result of its innovative and entrepreneurial spirit, Israel has earned the title of Startup Nation due to its widespread impact on contemporary science and technology. We were planning to innovate, but the terrible events of October 7th changed our priorities to ensure our safety. In the span of a few short hours, Israel went from conducting business as usual to declaring a national emergency and entering a national mourning period. Again and again, the strength of Israel's economy has been highlighted by this continuing crisis. Israeli businesses have shown resilience in the face of adversity by continuing operations as usual and providing first-rate services to clients all over the world. This is not surprising, since Israel's success in the long run has always hinged on its ability to bounce back from adversity. Sadly, there is no shortage of examples. Israeli GDP, exports, and FDI have consistently recovered from crises, whether it was the 2008 to 2009 global financial crisis, Operation Protective Edge in 2014, or any other prior challenge. The most recent devastating impact on Israel's economy came in the second quarter of 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic reduced GDP by approximately 30% on an annualized basis. Nevertheless, Israel swiftly recovered, experiencing a growth of nearly 40% in the subsequent quarter and over 8.5% in the subsequent year, surpassing the OECD average of 5.7%. Warren Buffett made Berkshire Hathaway's first foreign investment in Israel, purchasing 80% of the metalworking company Iscar, situated close to the Lebanese border, at a valuation of $5 billion, just before the turbulent days of the Second Lebanon War. Despite Iscar's closeness to the border and its frequent exposure to rocket attacks, Buffett remained steadfast when the conflict broke out and kept his investment. Substantial gains were ultimately produced by this astute, long-term decision. In 2013, when Buffett acquired the remaining portion of Iscar, its value had increased to $10 billion, having doubled in the previous year. The overall Israeli economy mirrored this recovery. The main TA-125 index of the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange fell more than 8% in the early days of that war, but it only took 40 days for it to recoup to its pre-war levels. Similarly, the TA-125 dropped more than 12% after the October 7th attacks and, as predicted, went back to its pre-war level nearly entirely in the span of 2 months. In the aftermath of the Hamas attacks, a plethora of programs sprung up to aid the impacted businesses. Business support tools, private sector designated funds, and vehicles like the IIA Fast Track Funding Mechanism, SafeDome, Iron Nation, and the Frontline Initiative came to fruition in a flash. In an ongoing global effort to support Israeli startup companies, the Israel Ministry of Economy has conducted 45 overseas economic missions and hosts hundreds of investment events. Meanwhile, in response to the changing needs of Israeli companies, the Israel Ministry of Finance has recently quadrupled the IIA's Fast Track Fund. In addition to government programs, private investors are pouring money into Israeli startups, and world-renowned CEOs are starting to take notice of Israel's stellar innovation scene. Recent events include the $30 million Series B funding round for Israeli data security startup Mine, which was co-led by PayPal Ventures. Additionally, a McKinsey report ranked Israel first globally for investment per capita and share of GDP in the rapidly growing mobility sector. Wiz, Orca Security, SNYK, and BeHero are 4 of the Israeli companies that made it onto CNBC's Disruptor 50 list in 2023. This ranks them among the highest national counts after the United States. A total of 15 Israeli companies have been named to the list since its inception. This is particularly noteworthy because Israeli tech workers have been called up to defend their homeland in both recent and previous wars. Members of several startups teams were juggling daytime military service with nighttime business management. More investors and business leaders have visited Israel in the last 2 months than I can keep track of. both to demonstrate solidarity and to promote business opportunities. I am speaking from my experience as Israel's economic minister to North America. The biggest business group in the world, the United States Chamber of Commerce, has led the way in offering humanitarian aid and other forms of support to Israel in the wake of the terrorist attacks. In a strong statement of solidarity with Israel, the heads of more than 800 prominent VC companies urged their international counterparts to support and engage with Israeli startups, entrepreneurs, and investors. Israel is clearly on the mend, and the best informed and most seasoned investors are cashing in on this incredible opportunity. Despite the current challenges, Israeli entrepreneurs and innovators are already planning for the future. Numerous opportunities for cooperation, investment, and commercial partnerships persist in Israel's innovation ecosystem. We want the world to know that Israel is and will remain a welcoming business destination. In any case,